Hey Louise, how are you?
All right, our first This Week in Business. I'm excited. And of course, this week we had the budget.
It's a big one.
Anyone excited by it?
Barely containing myself.
Oh. So, Kingsley, do you want to give us the highlights on the budget and what it means for business?
Yeah, well, the main bits, I suppose, number one, I suppose, is probably the tax cuts that have been brought forward. So that there's probably something in it for most people there with the movements in the brackets. So particularly around the people that were in the 19 cents bracket that ran up to $37,000 in income's gone to 45, and then the bracket that there was the 34.5, including Medicare, going up to 90 has now been pushed up to 120,000. And on the modelling that people have done, pretty much all of the population that's working will probably get between about $2,000 to $2,500 more in their pocket by the end of the year as a result of these cuts, whether you're a low-income earner or one of the very top income earners. So I guess it's given a fairly even result for people in the sense that you're getting between about, well, the real low end you'll get about 1,000, but for the people who are sort of lowish to top, is between $2,000 to $2,500 more in your pocket by the end of the year. Probably the key issue for small business people is a lot of times us accountants will take the owners of the business, we will often have put their wages up to that, what was the $90,000 level. Probably worth talking to your accountant to see whether they think it's a good idea now to go up to the 120. Probably the answer is yes, but talk to your accountant and just check. Because generally that's where after that it gets pretty expensive tax-wise, but we try to get profits out of that level. Then I guess the other next big one, which for small business, I guess currently we've been getting it pretty much anyway through the end of this calendar year, is that the depreciation still being 100% accelerated. So you can go and buy a $150,000 watch me call it machine, and we can claim the whole $150,000 depreciation right away in this year's tax return, which was going to stop at the end of December, but now will go all the way through for a couple of years. That's been expanded out to the bigger end of businesses, which is probably not so much the people that are watching today. There could be a couple, but for small business, I guess it does mean if you were looking at buying a big piece of equipment and a bit worried, oh crikey, do I do it before the end of December or not? And if I wait beyond December, I'm going to miss out, and I'm not sure if I really need it yet or not. I guess the good news there is the pressure's off a bit. The other thing, though, to watch out for a bit is because this very fast accelerated depreciation has been around for a while now, a lot of people might not realise that they've used up all of their depreciation on the old stuff, because it enables accountants to write off a lot of the old stuff as well very fast. So if you go and sell something, you'll probably find that that's going to be pure profit. So this is great in terms of going and buying, getting new stuff, but just be a bit careful around selling your old stuff or on your trade-in. You might find that that's going to go straight to being profit. So if you're about to go and buy and sell some big gear, I would probably talk to your accountant and just make sure you know exactly where your situation is, so that you don't get a surprise thinking this was going to be absolutely wonderful, good news, and the accountant says, well, actually it's only half as good as you think it is because you sold something that was already depreciated. And then the other big thing with the depreciation, of course, is just remember, if you're going to go and buy a $100,000 piece of equipment, let's say you're running your business for a company, that's going to save you $26,000 in tax, not 100. You're still going to spend 100 to save 26,000. So you still need to be wanting that equipment for good commercial reasons, not just for tax.
So Kingsley, when I go and buy the brand new Sahara Land Cruiser that's come out this year, and I decide to trade it in next year and they give me 90% of what I paid for it, that's effectively shifting that 90% of the price of the Land Cruiser into next year's profits. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I guess first thing to say that particularly with a Land Cruiser Sahara is don't forget there's the luxury car tax limits as well. So if we're talking about tractors and tracks and vans and backhoes and excavators, that's fine. But if you're talking about cars, and off the top of my head, it's about $58,000. So if you go and buy a $100,000 car, about half of that's not deductible, full stop.
Wow.
So Anthony, don't go and buy the Land Cruiser Sahara. What about I saw stuff about trainees, apprentices. I'm personally a bit excited about this one.
So there you get, depending on how old the person's going to be that you're looking, if they're under 30, you're going to get $200 a week. So that's $10,000 a year. You get 12 months worth. Between 30 and 35, that's dropped down to 100, but that's still $5,000 or a bit over for the year. So especially for those younger ones where their wage cost, it's also tax deductible. It in some cases are getting pretty close to that person's not really costing you very much money to employ at all. So in terms of if you were wanting to try, you had a bit of an idea of, I've been thinking about putting on a person to do X, but I haven't been entirely sure about, it's going to cost me a fair bit a day, etc. It's probably a good time to give it a go because you can probably sort of trial it for a year without it costing you too much money, really. Now, bear in mind, there's probably lots of industrial relations rules and issues that possibly could be around that, but from the tax point of view and just the immediate financial costs over the next 12 months, it's probably one of the cheapest times you could sort of, try before you buy almost, in the sense of an employee with those kinds of subsidies, particularly these sub 30-year-olds.
I guess you've also got the advantage there with some of those subsidies that are in place for trainees and apprentices. So that if you do get a young trainee coming in or a young apprentice, you've got I think there's a 50% wage subsidy that was kicked in for that.
Yeah,
is this on top of that as well?
Yeah, so that's what, in a sense, yes, you are going to have some people that aren't costing you much money at all to employ them. So again, I don't think you just go and put someone on for the sake of having someone on sort of thing, but if you were genuinely thinking about, we need to put another person on, or you wanted to expand your business in a particular direction, but were a bit worried about having that on wage cost, particularly in this environment, that's probably changed now. You probably, via this mechanism, you probably can do it very cheaply.
So we could see some of our subscribers actually hitting some growth strides with potentially being able to take on some staff to help increase their business, I guess.
Yeah, it is. If you think there's a genuine demand for a new service or product or something or other, this probably is a good time to give it a whirl.
It has been a challenging time looking for people over the last couple of months for businesses around the region, I guess, because the incentives that are available for people have been such that it's almost better off in some cases for them not to turn up to work. So hopefully with the winding back of some of those and the reduction of the job seeker payments and the gradual, I guess, elimination as we've got at the moment of JobKeeper for a majority of businesses in the southwest, I think that's probably going to help bring people back into the workforce, which would be good to see for us. These things create confidence, and really importantly for young people, it gives them the opportunity to get in and get started in the world, which is terrific that these initiatives are targeted towards that audience in particular.
Yes.
All right. Well, I think those are sort of the key highlights on the budget that I saw. Is there anything else, Kingsley, that you think? Anything big ticket?
Probably just segueing a little bit from Anthony talking about the JobKeeper. There's two competing forces a little bit out there, I think, in a sense. Is what Anthony's talking about, that clearly there has been a problem in some sectors of people sort of saying, if I can get $1,500 a fortnight and sit on the backside versus work, I'm going to sit on the backside. On the flip side, so those people now are going to be compelled to work, which is good. On the flip side, I think here in Western Australia, where things have gone comparatively well, I've certainly seen our own client base I would say, of 100 businesses that are currently getting JobKeeper 1, 95 of those will not get JobKeeper 2. So that's good news space there, since that means most businesses don't apparently need it. But it means JobKeeper is getting turned off overnight for the vast majority of businesses. And they'll get their last check this month, so it probably won't start to sting until next month. So I know a couple of my clients that have been talking about doing a couple of big things, paying off a big lump of debt, and where I said, just wait another month. Now let's just see how that plays out. It may be it's a very minor little bump and we drive straight over it, or it could be a bit of a hurdle, particularly if you're a business that's very orientated to the end consumer and it's discretionary spending. So just bear that in mind, which, JobKeeper's for most is effectively finished this month.
I guess leading on from that too, Kingsley, what I read, there's some fairly big changes in insolvency provisions heading towards almost a US Chapter 11 type model.
Yeah, and again, I guess broadly, they're good. I'm hoping I don't have any clients that need to take advantage of them, but they are there. Again, I'd imagine there could be a lot of utilisation of those in Victoria. I'm not seeing too many people needing to do those sorts of things here, so I'm hopeful that's going to be fairly rare. But again, if you're in that situation, they are there. You'd be mad not to be taking advantage of, or at least investigating them fairly closely.
I guess my reading of the hope with these changes is really around driving innovation and encouraging people to have a go, and perhaps if they're in strife, find a way out of it, rather than, as a lot of people tend to do, bury their head in the sand and hope that things will disappear.
We might try and get Sean on next week to talk about the changes to responsible lending and see if that's of any interest of people, because those are more changes coming through as well as we try as a nation to dig ourselves out of the recession that we are currently in. All right. Well, one last thing I wanted to touch on, because we obviously don't want to keep these too long, is we have got a workshop coming up with Kingsley talking about stress testing your finances. We are just working on a date for that at the moment. The original date has changed, so keep an eye out, and that workshop is actually going to be free for our Business subscribers. So it's a great opportunity for you to come along for free to work out some math with Kingsley on your own business. So all right, guys, thank you very much. Oh,
just one more before we disappear very quickly. It's been a very big change this week in Facebook land for businesses that are using Facebook. So I think you've noticed it, Louise, with the rollout of the Business Suite. There'll be a lot of people scratching their head, and some of us get used to it. You almost feel like things are changing. As soon as you get comfortable with something in this space, there's big changes. But their Business Suite does seem to offer a much better interface there. And if you've been turned off by the complexity of running a Facebook page and a WhatsApp page and perhaps, WhatsApp messaging and Instagram, it looks like Facebook have heard the message and they've brought together a set of tools now which really do simplify that process. That's probably the biggest change I've seen out there in that space. There's a couple of other ones which I'll just quickly pass over. Apple are bringing out their next version of iOS, which is going to completely block all of your retargeting options there. So if you're advertising for audiences in Facebook and looking to target people who visited your webpage and get them back, Apple have really made that, will make that almost impossible going forward. So we're going to have to look at ways of re-engaging audiences, as well as there's some fairly strict policies we're seeing in play at the moment around advertising. And we're seeing a lot of work happen in that space with Facebook trying to do the right thing by the election this time. We'll see how it pans out over there. But it is affecting the clearance and the approval times that we're seeing on a lot of our advertising campaigns that are running there at present. So just 3 things in Facebook land that we think will have an impact there on small businesses and their advertising. Keep an eye on it. Give it a go with Business Suite and see how you go.
Yeah, I personally love Business Suite. I found Creator Studio and Facebook Pages Manager being 2 separate entities as very difficult to work between. So now that they've been pulled into the one as the Business Suite, oh, I love it. It's so easy. I can switch between pages and stuff and Instagram and Facebook so easily. So if you haven't given it a go, get onto it. There's a wonderful a phone app for it as well, which makes it even easier to do things on the run.
Excellent.
All right, cool. Thanks, guys. We will chat again soon.
Righto.
All right, thanks.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.